Welcome to the Regional Business Forum. Please welcome Rosalind Lockyer, Executive Director, PARO Center for Women's Enterprise, and Tom Meilleur, Vice President, Business Development. Bienvenue au Forum d'affaires régional. S'il vous plaît, veuillez accueillir Rosalind Lockyer, Directrice générale de PARO Center for Women's Enterprise, et Tom Meilleur, Vice-président au développement des affaires.
I have a presentation, and I think, Lori, in the back, you're going to put it up for me. And here you'll see the crew from PARO. And I think this is what PARO is all about. PARO is all about the women in the organization, the women working with women all across Northern Ontario. So moving along, you'll see that we have a picture there of our green room. And every week in our green room, we have workshops. And those workshops, just the same as here today, are presented at PARO Center in Thunder Bay, which is our head office, but it also goes out through Contact North. And if you're registered through Contact North, you can watch those workshops in real time and interact in real time, or you can look at them later. And I think that's really important for businesses because they can't always come out of their business and go to a workshop, but they still need to keep in touch with the kind of information that they need to know to operate their business. So moving along, we'll talk a little bit about where we operate and how we do that work. We have two PARO on Wheels vans. One goes out from our head office in Thunder Bay, and it goes out through northwestern Ontario. And we have a satellite office in Chapleau in northeastern Ontario, so we have another PARO on Wheels van that goes out through northeastern Ontario. And that and Contact North, those are the ways that we connect all across the region. So for Greenstone, we travel up in our PARO on Wheels vans. So you can see the geography here, which is the next slide, will show you that that's the area that we're dealing with. Southern Ontario is such a small piece of Ontario geographically, and anyone who's working in Northern Ontario, whether they're a business or a small business or a very big company, your major challenge is the geography, and you need to learn how to tackle that geography in a way that you can reach out to people and communicate with people. So moving on, I couldn't use the remote up here, so I'm sort of having to guide the people in the back to move along on the slides. So last year we worked with 1,500, and I can't see it very well because it's sideways, but I think it's 1,576 people. We created, through our work, with 103 businesses, and 87 businesses would have been the businesses that we work with. They're already created, but they wanted to expand or apply for funding or work on their systems, quality management, etc. And those businesses that we created and maintained, they actually created 292 jobs last year. So you can see that PARO is working all across the region, and we're going to the businesses. So that is another unique factor about PARO. One of the other things we do, you heard the panel talk about the various kinds of funding that are available. Filling out these applications sometimes is a challenge to small business owners. They're very busy, and they're not in the business of filling out forms lots of times. So whether it's developing a business plan to go with their application or helping them fill out the application forms, since 2009, we've helped businesses leverage over $3 million. So you can see there, and of those, that $3 million, over $2 million were actually from PARO programmings, because we have loans and grants of our own as well. So if we can move along, because I know I only have a limited time. And when I'm talking about PARO's grants and loans, I'm talking about our peer lending circles. We create peer lending circles across the region, and we have a combination of grants and loans. Our peer lending circles are for women-owned businesses, and for the first 2 stages, they can also get a grant. So we're the only bank in Canada where you can borrow $1,000 and only have to pay back $500. And then if you do a really good job of paying back that $500, we'll give you $2,000, but you only have to pay back $1,000. And then you're going to be on your own, you'll get $3,000, $5,000, like that. So our purpose is to give that leg up in the beginning to move businesses to a point where they can sustain themselves. So I won't go into great detail, but how we do that is by working with our partners. And we have many partners that we work with, and the CFDCs, we have 15 memorandum of understandings with CFDCs like Thunder Bay Ventures and Greenstone CFDC in the Greenstone area, but also throughout the north. So whether you're in Blind River, or Kapuskasing, or Dryden or Sioux Lookout, or Fort Francis, we can help you start a peer lending circle, and we will work with partners to do that. So you can see these are some of the people that we work with. A new partner that we have coming up that I'll tell you about as we move into the next section about the Northern Women in Business project is We Connect. And when we were talking previously about exporting, we were talking about growing business and how business will do business with business as they move forward and try to connect to some of the contracts that will come out of Ring of Fire. We're aware of that, and we want to help businesses prepare for all the opportunities that will be availing, they can avail of coming up. So that takes time, and it takes steps of moving forward. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is certify women-owned businesses. Most big companies have what's called supplier diversity programs. Women-owned businesses fit into that supplier diversity policy. And we are going to be working in the next year or so to certify women-owned businesses so that they can connect with the big companies and help them fulfill their needs. Supplier diversity has been known to be cost-effective for big companies, so larger companies are really looking at supplier diversity. And once you have credibility through this certification process, not only will you be able to avail with some of the larger contracts here in our region, you also will be able to work internationally. So that will be one of the areas that we'll be developing that will be really a big part of the Ring of Fire preparedness, I guess is what we would say. So just in a nutshell in closing, the Northern Women in Business program that we're providing right now, it's funded by FedNor, Ontario Trillium Foundation, DTAP, which is around digital technology, NOHFC, and the Women's Economic Council, which is a national women's program. This program is about helping a person start a business or grow their business by looking at their productivity, finding out where the gaps are, helping them fill those gaps, and then helping them connect to opportunities. Then if they need funding, we help them connect to where they can get funding, financing, partnerships, connections so that they can move forward. So that's pretty well what PARO does. We're looking for sponsors for our We Connect partnership. In Newfoundland, Hebron has been a major partner with We Connect, and NLO, which is a women's organization in Newfoundland. Hebron has helped sponsor some of these certifications for women-owned businesses, and that's been a really successful project. So I'm hoping we can bring that to Northern Ontario and help some women-owned businesses in the north be able to be a part of these wonderful opportunities that are actually available now if people can see themselves as being ready and make themselves ready where they feel that they have the gaps. They can now move forward. And just like Mike was saying from FedNor, often these businesses can export now and work with big companies. They just don't see it yet. And part of what PARO does is let them see that they are ready. PARO, by the way, the MC asked me what PARO meant, and PARO means I am ready. So we go out there and help women so that they can say, yes, you want to do business with us? Yes, we are ready. So thank you.
We have a second sponsor today from Cargo North, Mr. Tom Meilleur, Vice President, Business Development, again, Cargo North. Tom, you ready? Thank you.
Good afternoon. Some of you are still waiting to get out there and get your lunches, so I'm going to be quick. Cargo North is a joint venture formed by Nikina Air and North Star with the express purpose of bringing together larger air freight capabilities to the north, which fits kind of in with the Greenstone intentions in the mining industry and what have you. It's a very versatile airplane, and I don't know over there if we have the capability of putting up those slides, or if we're having some. Let me see if I can get you. The Basler aircraft, what they call the PT-67, is actually a workhorse that we all knew from days gone by, which was a DC-3. What they've done is they've modified the aircraft, and I'm just trying to get the slides up to date. They've modified the aircraft by putting turbine reliable engines on them, stretching the airplane, and it is right now the only airplane that's capable of carrying about 11,000 pounds, not only into the smaller strips. We can go into unprepared strips. We can also go into ice strips. So it's perfect for the mining industry. It's so versatile, it carries, not only does it carry the freight of about 11,000 pounds, we carry fuel with it in bladders. We also can carry passengers. Our newest addition, which was arrived last week, has 18-seat capacity. So now combining it with the freight makes it just perfect for the mining industry and for exploration. We do quite a bit of work out of our Nikina base into the Ring of Fire today. We're probably one of the main suppliers of that area, working closely in conjunction with the mining industry. More importantly than that is our First Nation commitment and our First Nation communities that we serve. Mr. Frank Kellner, who is the founder, the CEO, president, we give him the pilot, he's also the janitor when we need it, is very versed in the north. Kellner, V. Kellner Airways was started way back in the 1980s, which eventually grew into other companies and over time. He has a great experience and a great vision for the north. The beauty of the Basler aircraft and the selection of that aircraft was its economic and its simplicity. Going back to the roots of the northern development, air freight has always been a part of the north and a part of the development of northern Ontario. This brings the next generation to the north. More importantly than that, or just as important as the aircraft, is the service levels that we provide. It's a strategic alliance between several companies that span from Red Lake all the way to Kapuskasing, giving us bases of operation throughout Northern Ontario. These bases and the expertise brought into the company gives us probably the best team of management in Northern Ontario when it comes to air freight. We have solutions to any problem that may come up. We have the ability and the flexibility and the versatility to meet all of the demands. Our tagline, the capacity to deliver, is exactly what we are all about. We do have the capacity to deliver. I was trying to get the picture of the airplane up, but I guess that's not going to work. But the airplane itself is unique. It's the only ones operating in Northern Ontario. Matter of fact, in the North, period. There is no other airplane that's capable of touching it for versatility, for pricing, or for service. But the strategic alliance that I was talking to you about is very important because it also brings the ability to cover all of your transportation needs. The Pilatus aircraft, I'm just going to try to bring up we have in our family of companies, not only do we have the Pilatus aircraft, we have caravans, and our combined fleet now in the strategic alliance exceeds 17 aircraft. So it's not a small little venture. It's not a new startup in the sense that it comes from the roots of existing airlines, both North Star, Nikina, and of course the expertise of Mr. Frank Kellner, who's been in the business for 43 years. We have you covered in floats, we have you covered in skis, we have you covered on small, unprepared strips, and of course the Northern First Nation communities that form a very important part of our overall business strategy. As you can see, there's one of the pictures of one of our first aircraft with the ski configuration underneath. So why is it flying over water? Well, we had to test it sooner or later. So anyways, it will land on ice, and it's probably one of the airplanes that requires the least amount of ice. We're looking at 24 inches of ice to operate fully loaded, and we've been into as low as 20. So it gives the mining industry the extra lift and capacity that they may need for exploration and going forward. In closing, we're new, but we're old. We're experienced. We have the right technology. We've made the right investment. We're talking about probably all told about a $20 to $30 million investment in Northern Ontario. We intend to be a great part of the development of the North in the future. And I would like to thank you at this time for taking the time out of your lunch, and want to thank you for having the opportunity to speak here today. Thank you very much.